Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy, but we are also here with Pam Godwin. So thanks Pam for being here. We're so excited to have you here. This is awesome.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Us too. Yeah, we've been talking about it all week. So yeah.
Yes, we have.
Yes. Okay, Mandy, what do you got on the agenda?
Okay, well, let's just dive right in. And so, for people who may not be really familiar with your books, what types of books do you write? Any specific tropes?
Romance. I mean, I write across the board, like everything: cowboys, love triangles, dystopian, rock stars, pirates, Alaskan survival. I'm forgetting, like sex trafficking, dark books, student teacher. I have a couple of those. I have a couple priest books. So forbidden. I like the age gap. Forbidden. I mostly write gritty romance. So I mean, there's nothing soft or fluffy or rainbowy about any of my books, but I do have some that are just like normal. Like my love triangle is just all about the angst. It doesn't have all the gritty craziness that most of my other books have.
Yeah. You do have your one horror romance too. Or it's horror. Do you call it romance though?
Yeah, it's a love story. It's like I think it's my best love story. I mean, it's the love story is what drives the entire plot.
Yeah, I've read
That's
the first.
it's dystopian.
Mhm.
The first book in that series is all about her survival and the world building.
Yeah.
So she falls in love with a few guys along the way. It's a reverse harem. So
Yeah. Yeah, I want to finish it. I just read the first one and then somebody spoiled the second one for me and I was like, great. So now that I'm kind of getting over that now, I'm like, okay, now I can go back into it. But I did that and the little novella that comes with it too. So
okay.
And I love post-apocalyptic survival stuff. Obviously, I like survival. So yeah, it worked for me.
It's very different from any post-apocalyptic book that's out there. There's nothing like it. I mean, the people, like, they don't turn into zombies, they turn into bugs. So,
yes, which is awesome.
I mean, that's my like I mean, I love horror movies, so I was inspired by very many horror movies. Anyway.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mandy's
over here going, bugs.
Yeah, bugs. So, do you have a favorite book you've written or a favorite character?
I think it is the dystopian books. So the character in the heroine in that story is just super badass. She's the last surviving woman in the world. And if you like take the movies like Alien and Predator and Terminator and like put them all together with a super like hot love story, that's kind of what it is. It's like all of my favorite movies all mashed up. So that's probably my favorite. It's the first book in that series was the first book I ever wrote. So I think most authors tend to that's their first, like that's their baby. So they always like gyrate back to that. Like it's my baby. I love it.
And didn't I hear somewhere that the Frozen Fate trilogy is kind of you rewriting that in a way?
Yeah, because it was such a strange premise, the dystopian series that I wrote. I could never sell it. Like nobody, as soon as you hear, oh, people mutate into bugs, like, oh no, thank you. That's not my thing. I mean, sci-fi readers would probably enjoy it, but I've never been able to because it's not like sci-fi. It's not out in outer space with aliens, so I couldn't ever get them on board with it either. So it's just kind of in a genre of its own. So I decided it's such a great story. I'm going to rewrite it in a way that, and it's not anything like it. It just has all my favorite things from that story in the Frozen Fate trilogy. So the survival, the strong heroine, the guardian, the protective men that are more savage and feral that are wrapped around her, and just the constant suspense on the edge of your seat. Like all of that is and death. I mean, I had a lot of death in that dystopian. It's dystopian. Everybody dies.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of death in that series, and so I also have death in the Frozen Fate series.
Okay.
Where would you recommend starting for someone who is new to your books? Where should they start?
If I don't know if they're dark readers or not, I usually steer people toward my love triangle. Like 1 is a promise, 2 is a lie, 3 is a war. It's the Tangled Lies trilogy. It's super angsty. It's a true love triangle. So you fall in love with both of the men, and only one of them wins in the end. So 50% of the readers end up crushed at the end of the trilogy. But
I'm
way
laughing
to
because
push,
Mandy.
way to push this one.
Why?
But the guy that loses at the end does cross over to my 9-book series, which is a human sex trafficking series, and it totally fit him so well. He just kind of slid right in there.
Yep.
And I drug out his story for like 5 books and finally gave him a happily ever after at the end of that. So that series, that 9-book series, is each book is a different couple. That's the Deliver series. So it's very dark. These are villains. Like, I redeemed the villains, and I don't redeem the villains in the Frozen Fate trilogy, but I redeem the villains in the Deliver series.
Yeah,
they all get happily ever.
Poor Mandy, when I told her, like, she read the first book and she's like, I can't do this anymore, of the trilogy, with the love triangle. She's like, I can't do this. I need to know what happens to him. And I'm like, well, at this point, you'd only read what, the first in the Deliver series or something? And I was like, well, he does get a happily ever after. He gets it in the 10th. Or not the 10th, the 9th. You have to keep reading. And she's like, what? So you just finished that though, didn't you, Mandy?
I did.
Yeah.
I got there.
The love triangle?
No.
You did? So which,
I finished Deliver.
Yes.
The love triangle was
finished.
just too much for me.
Okay.
She read the first book. She read One as a Promise. And then she was very upset with me because I made her read it. So
love triangles are hard for me because I always pick the wrong person, and it is soul crushing.
Are you sure you picked the wrong person in this?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, because did you look and see?
She knows.
I may have forced Jessica into telling me because I just couldn't handle it.
That's all right. I can't tell you how many people messaged me when I was releasing the 3rd book of that, demanding that I tell them because they weren't going to read it unless they knew. And I wouldn't tell them. I just don't like to spoil books, so I refused.
Yeah.
But you can read reviews. There's reviews out there that spoil it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it ended up the way it needed to end up. And also, like, a love triangle, I know it hurts, but it's about the journey, not the destination.
Yeah.
Like, it's about like character growth and finding yourself and like all of the complications that come with love. Love is not like a clear, easy thing. It's hard in life, and it's a constant battle.
Yeah, exactly. I think for me, I knew it was going to happen because I read the Deliver series first, and then I got to, it must be the last book where you put in there, go read the love triangle first. So then I stopped and went and read that. So I knew because I'd seen him, right? So I knew.
You already seen him in the story. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I had no clue at that point, but yeah. So, but I loved him throughout the whole series, the Deliver series, and so then I was like, oh, there's a book where he's in it. And I didn't realize what I was stepping into at first. But yeah, it's good. Yeah.
You were saying that in the Deliver series, you redeem your villains, and you are so incredible at that. How we take, like, I'm reading this book, and when we started, we read the Deliver series, and the very first one for a buddy read, and I'm reading it and I call Jessica and I'm like, I can't do this. Like, this is rough. And she's like, no, just keep reading. And that's what she had to tell me during Dark Notes too, because I was like, oh, her life is just awful. And Jessica's like, no, keep reading. And then Dark Notes turned out to be like one of my favorite books ever. But in the Deliver series, like, it's so crazy how like you hate these people and what's happening, and then all of a sudden you're rooting for them. I'm like, wait, when did that happen? Like, it is crazy how you do that to us.
Yeah.
I really love villains. I just really do. But I don't start them out knowing that they're going to get redeemed. Like, I hope that I can redeem them, but I don't always succeed at it. So the Frozen Fate trilogy, like, I never intended for any kind of redemption there. Like, there's lines you cannot cross, and all the lines are crossed in the Frozen Fate trilogy. They really are. So there's no glorifying any of that. But like the Deliver series, I started out with Van as the villain in that book, and he was supposed to die at the end of book 1. Like, she shoots him. I'm not spoiling anything because he goes on and gets his other, gets a
Yeah.
second book.
Yeah.
But he was supposed to die, and it just didn't sit right with me. Like, I just thought he's not redeemable. He's awful. He's just he's a human sex trafficker. Like, I was just going to deliver a book and leave it at that and move on to, another story and just leave it there. But I went to bed and woke up, I cried about it. Like, I missed that character, and my husband was finally like, just bring him back to life, Pam. Stop it. Just give him his own book. And I'm like, he can't be redeemed. Nobody will want him. And so when I wrote his book, I had no thought that he would be redeemed. I just didn't think he could be. But when you hear about somebody's tragic past and the things that he went through and the things that all of my villains really have gone through, like I feel like you start to try to understand them. You can't forgive them. I mean, and it's also fiction, so they should all be in prison. They should all be in prison or dead. But in fiction, like, you're looking for glimpses. I don't know if do you guys watch horror movies? Do you ever no?
And my
Like,
husband used to
horror
make
books
me
or
when we were first dating. He'd force me to do it, but I don't choose it.
No, you're not into it. Like, have you guys seen Silence of the Lambs? Like,
yes,
Hannibal
but
Lecter?
so long ago.
Long ago. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but like that movie, Hannibal Lecter made that movie for me. He was a cannibal. He's a cannibal. He was a very smart doctor, but he was so fascinating to watch and listen to that I just really wanted him to have a happily ever after. Like, watching that, I just really wanted. And like Star Wars, okay, Star Wars, the that's a classic villain there, Darth Vader. I wanted that. I wanted Darth Vader. I wanted all his minions to have happily ever afters. I always root for the villain anyway.
Yeah.
I went on a tangent about that, but that's because I think that most villains can be redeemed if you show them in a different light. Just some of them cannot.
Yes.
Be redeemed.
Well, and then like Van's book is my favorite out of this series. I think it's yours too, right, Mandy?
Mine too, yeah.
Yeah.
Love him.
We all have that little, we got to redeem them quality. So that's what attracts us to bad boys on page. I don't need one in real life, on
right.
page.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's awesome. I was telling Mandy too, when there's like in books, when I read books and there's a villain and he gets killed or something bad happens or he has to face the consequences of his actions and they're not good, I'm always sitting here going, oh, but are you sure? Because are you sure he can't be redeemed in some way? I mean, he's still a person. So I have that tendency.
It's compassion. It's human compassion.
Yeah.
And we all have that. We all have that compassion in us. So we want to see that redemption.
Exactly. So what else you got there, Mandy?
Okay, so this was a question that we were asked to ask you a couple of times, and people are very curious to know how you come up with your ideas.
Real life stories. So watching the news. I think the Deliver series came from, I was watching the news about a human sex trafficking ring found in a suburban neighborhood. And I think it was in Texas, which is why I based it there. So it was just like somebody's next door neighbor, like trafficking kids in and out of their house, like next to them in suburbia. So I was watching that on the news and I'm like, I'm gonna make a series about that. I'll make a book about that and like twist it all up and make it even worse. So that's how all of my stories come from. I watch the news probably more than I should, but I'm really drawn to the horror and the graphic, awful stories. And then I figure out how I can like twist it and write it into a story that's entertaining.
So what about Sea of Ruin?
Sea of Ruin came from my son. Ever since he was little, he had been begging me to write a pirate book.
Oh, that's
and
cute.
It's cute. And now he's 19 and he's like, he likes, he doesn't read my books, but he doesn't care. He's not like offended that I write, like romance books or anything like that. But when I first started writing, he was like, I didn't really mean that kind of book, Mom, but okay. So I don't know. So yeah, I mean, the pirate, I would have probably never written a pirate book if it wasn't for him.
Okay.
He also wants me to write a gladiator book, and he like every time I talk to him, he's like, "What about that gladiator book, Mom?"
Yeah, what
I don't
about
know
that?
how he
That
feels.
sounds
I mean, I outlined one like 3 years ago. I outlined a gladiator historical.
Mhm.
So
I'd read that in a heartbeat. So both of your kids are gone now, right? You guys, are you empty nesting it or whatever they call it, empty nesters?
yeah, I mean, I spend all my time writing, and my husband spends all his time playing video games. If that's what empty nesting is,
It's not that bad, right?
yeah. I mean, I miss my kids because they're like not at local. My kids
Yeah.
went. Well, I told my kids to not stay in Missouri. I said, go anywhere in the world, just go and live. Don't stay, because I grew up in Missouri and I've always wanted to leave Missouri, and I just haven't, because I'm so interconnected with my family here. It's hard, and I'm still trying to leave. But anyway, I told my kids, just go. I was thinking, like maybe Colorado, or I don't know, like a state away, Chicago. No, one went to freaking Oregon, 2,000 miles away. The other one is still she's in southern Missouri, but she's talking about moving to the East Coast. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I've got one graduating this year, and for the longest time he was like, I want to go to Germany and go to like live there for a year and then go to school. And I'm going, that's it. Like, that's a whole nother country. That's not like Canada. That's like a whole nother country. Like,
yeah.
Oh no. Now things have changed. I think he'll end up in Alaska, but still, like, whoo. Yeah, that's hard.
Where are you at now? You were in Alaska, right?
I was in
Are you
Alaska.
still in?
No, I live on the border of Washington and Oregon, right below Vancouver. So yeah,
so you're close to my son.
What was that? Yes, close to your son.
You're close to my son. Yeah.
I'm a little bit closer. I'm down in Western Washington, but down past like Olympia. So I'm closer to the Oregon side.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's like
he's
4 hours
that
away.
area. My son goes and hikes all through there. Like he loves hiking through Olympia, the whole forest or whatever. What is it called?
The Olympics.
The Olympic
National Forest.
Yeah, and he goes out there by himself, of course, to terrify me. But he goes out there and hikes all the time by himself. So anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, it just
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We'll talk about that.
Moving on.
Yes. Okay. So this book, this cover, one of our readers, or I guess our viewers, one of your readers, one of our viewers, wanted to know where you came up with the idea for this cover and who the artist was for it.
The artist is Hang Lee. She does a lot of the pretty covers you see all over. I think she does almost all of Jennifer Armentrout's covers, like any of those really pretty artsy ones. So she's the artist, and I told her I wanted, I knew it was going to be historical. Obviously, it's pirates. I had never written a historical book. I just knew that me writing a historical book was not going to be like other historical books. This was not going to be your mom's bodice ripper. So I told her, I do not want the cover to look like my mom's bodice rippers. Like I don't want Fabio on the cover. I don't want the corsets. I don't want it dated really in any way. Let's go artistic, which is what I really like, artistic covers anyway. So, and she's fantastic with it. So I was like, put the girl in the water with the ship like all entwined in her clothes, because I knew at that scene, because I had already outlined the book. So I knew there was going to be that scene where she was falling under the ship and watching the ship above. So I kind of wanted that on the cover. So that's how it came to be. I think the cover doesn't necessarily speak to how dark the book is. So that's probably a mistake, but I cannot bring myself to ever change it. I don't want a dark cover. I mean, in my mind, historical fiction is dark, and just because of the era, especially as pirates, they were all dark and brutal. And so I just kind of thought that the genre itself would sell it as it being dark, but I think maybe I took that to an extra level, the darkness.
I love the cover.
As I do.
Yeah.
As I do.
Yeah.
Also, people think that it's fantasy. I think the cover like maybe says it's a little bit fantasy. I've had people ask me if it's fantasy, or people like categorize it as fantasy. It's not fantasy. It's historical fiction.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how they get. I wouldn't get fantasy from it, but to each their own. So
yeah. It's definitely not like any historical romance I've ever read.
What did you say? How do they solve their problems in that book, Mandy?
Oh, I was saying that a lot of problems get solved in this book with orgasms.
I mean, that's how all problems should be solved.
I think
right?
so.
Yes.
We'd all be happier. Yes, yeah.
The world would be a better place.
And I get told all the time there's not enough sex in that book.
Really?
And I feel like maybe it's just like I mean, I tend to do most of my sex scenes towards the end, so I like to wait. Like I think most romances do you have the first sex scene by 50%. I don't like that. I like to make you wait longer.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe I waited till like 70%-ish, and then I don't know. Also because of the relationship dynamic, I don't want to spoil what that is, but you know what that relationship dynamic is. I left some of that off page because I didn't want to focus the story on I can't really say much more without spoiling it, but I think that disappointed some people. They wanted it all on the page. So
yeah, I like more of the relationship building than I mean, I need that more than I do the sex. So I appreciate that.
Me too.
Yeah, I need that relationship. So I need to feel that
I prefer to write that. I really love writing the challenge of putting two people together, especially if they're fighting it or if external forces are fighting it. Once you get to a sex scene, then I get bored.
Yeah.
As a writer, I really do. Like once I write a sex scene, I'm just like, so I usually save all my sex scenes to the end of the book and write them all. I go back in and add them all in after I'm done.
Interesting.
So I didn't do that in this last book because I was on a rush. But I almost did it to you because you were beta reading, and I was like, because I put it insert sex scene here, and then I keep writing on.
Yeah.
And I almost sent it out that way, and I'm like, oh my God, they'll kill me. I won't do it.
I wouldn't have killed you for it, but the other one's in my house. So yeah, I was just looking for answers at that point. I was like, let's find.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm ready for the next book, the third one.
I know.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, what do you like to do in your free time? I know Jessica's going to answer and be like, she doesn't. She just wants to write.
I don't think she wants to write. I think she has to write right now.
I have to write right now. I won't have free time really this year at all. But if like I got really burnt out during COVID. I think it was like 2021, I think, is the last time I published a book. I was so burnt out because I was writing like 20 to 22 hours a day. That went on for years. Like no weekends off, no vacation, no anything. I missed years of my kids' life because and they're just used to me just sitting in here and just writing. So I missed a lot, and that I really got burnt out from that. So when I say I took 2 years off, I just worked like a normal person, like 8 to 10 hours a day. So doing that, I had free time in the evenings or whenever to garden, which is what I like to do. I built an entire fairy garden in my front yard, like a massive fairy garden. Like,
oh wow,
it's like 12 feet long.
Wow.
It's probably longer than that, actually. It's really ginormous. Anyway, I do a lot of landscaping. I do a lot of outdoor work. I read a lot. Even when I'm writing all the time, if I get up, I've got an audiobook. I've always got my earbuds in. I've got an audiobook going. When I'm driving, I have to drive the post office every day, audiobook. I can get through an audiobook in a week just by driving back and forth to the post office.
Yes. Yeah.
So anyway, that's
post office. You mean like because it's so far away, or because you're going to the post office all the time?
I'm going to the post office all the time. Okay. Yeah, I go to the post office a lot, and they don't pick up my packages, so I have to take them. I'm not rural, but I'm just, I guess, I don't know. The post office doesn't pick up my stuff, so because I ship out books every day, so shipping out books and picking stuff up. So just running errands, I listen to audiobooks. Like that's my favorite thing. Is audiobooks are amazing.
They're the best.
Like the best invention ever. I don't watch TV. I don't watch. Oh, I do watch football. So
yes,
I watch football.
Man,
so yeah,
that's
because I'm in Kansas City, so I gotta watch football. But I even watched the Chiefs when they were horrible all through the 90s and the 2000s when we sucked so bad. I mean, I have a Chiefs tattoo, so it's my dog. But
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I'm a huge Chiefs fan, like for life.
Yeah, when that's the first time I heard of Travis Kelce was from Mandy, and it was way before the Taylor Swift thing. She's got like a candle. She's got, it's supposed to be his.
So you're a Chiefs fan.
She is.
I love Travis Kelce. I love football, so I watch like several teams, but I also will follow certain players. And so like Jessica said, I've loved Travis Kelce for a really long time. And once he started dating Taylor, I have a jersey that I would wear, and we're, on the West Coast, so it's not exactly Chiefs country out here. And people would make comments, and I started feeling bad wearing it because I wanted to be like, I loved him first.
Yeah.
It's not because of Taylor Swift.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my house, it's Buffalo Bills because that's my husband's from Buffalo. So Mandy
Josh Allen, right? Isn't that Josh Allen?
Yes.
Is that? Yeah.
That's the name I hear cursed in my house more often than not. So I think so. Yeah.
Josh Allen. I love him. You guys, he's not had a great year last year, but I think he's great. I think he's got so much potential.
Yeah, that's where I hear my husband saying his name every once, that's the name I hear over and over again, or something goes bad, then it's like Josh Allen, da 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 da. So, and he and Mandy will have conversations. We'll go to record our video for the day when it's football season, and my husband will sit in here and listen to us talk, and we'll have like this little break, and he'll be like, "Hey, Mandy," and then they start talking football, and then an hour later, I'm like, "Are we ready to record yet? I mean, are we ready to go?" So they're making me go to a football game this year.
Oh wow!
Buffalo and the Seahawks and the Bills are playing. So
yeah, I could talk football all day long with you, Mandy. They changed the kickoff rules, right, this year?
I just read something about that.
Yeah. I mean, I could talk forever about this.
Ooh, are you gonna write a football romance someday?
It would have to be dark or something. It would have to be different. I don't know. I would love to write
dark hockey out there, but not really dark football.
I would love to write a football romance where she's the football player. I just like to flip things up or make it different, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm writing more pirates. That's what I have on my plate next. So I have more pirate books coming in that Sea of Ruin world.
I'm excited for that. I know lots of people who are excited for that.
So I've outlined the next book already. I'm actually really excited about it, but I can't think about it right now. I can't think about it. I gotta finish this.
The Alaska book, when Jessica was telling me about the book you were writing when she was applying to be a beta reader, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like you had a direct conversation with Pam Godwin and she is writing the most perfect book just for you. Everything about this is exactly right up Jessica's alley.
Really?
It is. I'm all about the captor captive, the dark, and it's in Alaska. But like Mandy says, I mean, what did you say? I'll take a good book down if Alaska's done wrong?
Yes, you will. Yeah. She can't overlook small things.
No, I can't. There was an author that had a girl in mittens on Kodiak Island in June in a book, and I was like, no.
I still swear it was written to make her sound funny, but Jessica's like, it's not funny.
I mean, what if she's just cold all the time? I mean, maybe she's just
the author should have informed us of that.
Well, that's true. You're right. That's true.
If the book takes place in Alaska, there is no grace from Jessica.
No. And the girl, the female character was from Seattle. So Kodiak in June in Seattle is like being in Seattle in June. Same thing.
Yeah.
I spent summers in Kodiak too. That's probably why. But yeah. Anyhow.
Have you been to Port Lions?
I've been in the city, which we use that.
There's only like 200 people that live there or something like that, I think.
So I flew into Kodiak on Kodiak Island, and then where I worked in the summertime was Uganic Bay. So it was kind of off. It was in the back.
I know where it's at.
You do? Okay. The only thing that's there is a right now the cannery is still there, but it's closed down. It was the year after I left. My sister was there the last year, and then it closed down. And then there's like a big fishing charter place, and they built that while we were there my first summer, and then they were living there my second summer. But they were like pregnant and having kids, and I'm going, she's doing the winter, and how? What if there's medical, like that blew my mind. What if there were complications, all that stuff, because it's by boat or float plane, and that was the only thing got in.
So what did she do?
I have no idea, because I left at that point. Obviously she's fine, they just have a bunch of kids now, but back then I was too young to ask those questions. I didn't feel like I could just go and ask her. Now I'm nosy enough to be like, what's your plan? So those kids
I don't think there are any like really big houses on cliffs in Port Lions on Kodiak Island. Like I had to kind of make that part up. But the house that I based their estate on does exist in Kodiak Island. I found it on Zillow. It was just on a different cliff, but I wanted it to be set in Port Lions. Like I needed it to be in Port Lions. So
that was important.
I kind of, it could be. You could build a house there. I don't think anyone would, but you could maybe build a house where I said it was.
Yeah. Are we going to see any more of that house in the third book?
You probably will.
I need to see that Zillow listing if you still have it.
Yeah, I can send that to you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm such a visual person that I'm always looking up houses. Even though we lived in Alaska for years, I was still looking at houses. This is the thing that I don't know if you've noticed when you're looking at houses in Alaska. If you're outside of like Anchorage, like out of the city, there's no housing codes or building codes. So the majority of the homes are not finished. They just kind of work on them as they go. And so I was telling you about the woman that lived down the street from us. I was telling you, we called her the pistol packing mama, because she packed, and we had a mile long walk to get to the bus stop. So she'd come and get us in the morning, and we'd walk with her kids and stuff down there. But they had a dirt floor in their home.
Yeah.
And they'd had it for years.
I'm not surprised by that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. From what I researched, the house that I based their estate on in Kodiak Island I think it said it was the most expensive house in Alaska, and it was not that impressive.
No.
Like and the reason I think it was so expensive is because how they had to build it on the property, on the cliff. It just cost so much money to build it there in that area that I think that's why it was so expensive. It's for sale. Like the house is for sale now. I'll send you the listing.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember my aunt and uncle's house too. It was like, they built a cabin, and it was a big cabin, but I just remember they'd had the house for a couple of years, and we were still walking around just on the baseboard, like no carpet, nothing. There were spots in the attic where you couldn't walk, because they use it as a office, and you couldn't walk on certain boards because you'd fall through. So yeah,
it's crazy. Like I learned so much about Alaska researching for this book. Whittier is, it's like the whole town is in one building.
Yes.
It's one building.
Yes. That is where my husband
learned.
He got his dive master certificate in the winter in Whittier.
That's where he learned that bay. Oh.
Yeah, and we would go there just for fun. And you can only go in via that tunnel.
There's a tunnel
with the train. Yeah. So I can't remember if you go in on the half an hour or whatever, but it's every half an hour. You either go in or come out, and it's crazy.
It's crazy.
That's why I tell Mandy, it's a whole different way of life. You just write a book about a cold place and be like, oh yeah, they all wore mittens.
One building. I can't get over it. Like the post office, the store, everything is in the one building.
Yeah, blows your mind, huh? So there's just nothing there at all. So
it's beautiful though.
It is. It's very pretty. So, and the glacier is just right on the other side of the Portage Glacier is on the other side of the tunnel, so you can stop at the Portage Glacier on the way there. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, we went way off track. What else you got there, Mandy?
It's okay. So one of our viewers was curious if you would ever make your books available on Kindle Unlimited.
No. I mean, not unless I had to. So Lessons in Sin, I have one book on Kindle Unlimited because I don't own it. The publisher owns it, and they put it on Kindle Unlimited. My books don't sell on Kindle Unlimited. First of all, like Amazon is only like a small portion of my sales. So because if you put books on Kindle Unlimited, you have to pull them from every other store. So I would have to pull my books from Target and Barnes and Noble and Apple and Google and Kobo and like Walmart, everywhere. I'd have to pull all of my books just to put them. And because I've
Oh,
been
wow.
writing for so long, I've been publishing, 13, 14 years, however long it's been. I would lose. I have built an audience on all of these platforms. And for me to pull all of my books, I would lose all of those readers and just have like this tiny little sliver of Amazon. Like, why would I do that? I can't afford to do that.
No.
If I was a new author, I know why they do it, because they don't have a platform yet. So they have to start somewhere. So they start with Amazon because that's like the biggest seller. So you go in, that's why there's so many KU books, because there's so many new authors. But old established gals like me, most of our work is like on other platforms. Also, Amazon doesn't treat me very well. Like, they ban all of my books, like every book. They have not banned Hills of Shivers and Shadows yet. They have not banned that one yet, but they have banned every other book that I have published. They banned books while my books are in pre-order. So I think because of the content that I've produced on Amazon over the years, I've got some kind of flag on me. So whenever I put my books out, they automatically assume they're going to be bad, like content-wise. And I mean, there's I don't know what the rules are. Amazon doesn't tell us what the rules are. They just say, "Yeah, we don't like that. We don't like what's in that book, so we'll take it down." So that's really scary for me. Like, if I pulled all of my books off of every shelf and just stuck it on Amazon, and then Amazon decided to ban me, like, I can't
Yeah.
I can't do it. So
Yeah.
sorry.
I
I
think
know
that
it's
totally
hard.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And also my books aren't cheap, like, because I don't write the normal like 50,000 word book. Hills of Shivers and Shadows was 177,000 words. That's like the length of like 3 or 4 books.
Yeah.
So because of that, I'm not pricing my books like a normal book price. I price them how I think, the content, how many words are in it.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. My books are just not cheap to read.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Right.
I completely understand that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I think this is good though to have these conversations so people understand. So when they're like wanting to try a new author and they're like, oh, new author to them, they're like, well, why aren't there books on
Right.
Kindle Unlimited? This helps them understand. And so then for me, I'm like, oh, okay, like definitely want to support people that aren't there.
Yeah.
With
But
that information.
Yeah, but you also have on Amazon, like Deliver is free on Amazon.
Right. So I make all of every first book in every one of my series is free. So you don't even need a Kindle Unlimited membership. You can read 5 of my books for free. And these are long, like Deliver, I think, is 130,000 words or something like that. They're still super long, big books, and I'm giving it to you for free.
Yeah.
So it's not, I mean, I know that books are expensive and there's a budget, but at the end of the day, Hills of Shivers and Shadows will take you, like, I don't know how many hours it takes you to read, like 16, 15. I guess if you're a fast reader, you can maybe read it in 14 hours. So that price of that book, or you can buy a Starbucks drink. Like, you know what I mean? Like a Starbucks drink, you can drink it in 30 minutes, where it'll take you like 15 hours to read through that book for the same price. So I don't know. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I think when I was reading Hills of Shivers and Shadows, we were in California, my daughter had been in the hospital, and I was reading. That's all I was doing for the most part. And it still took me
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah. I had to read it slower because I was looking for things, but it still took me a good 3 days to get through it. So yeah. I'm not the fastest reader, but yeah. Okay, what else do you have you have more questions?
I am getting towards I have another one. Will we see you at any upcoming author signings?
Yes, I'm going to be at a Polycon this weekend. I guess that's next weekend. Or you guys are releasing this on
Thursday.
April 25th? Thursday. Yeah, so I'll be at a Polycon when this releases. And then after that, I come back, and then I leave again a week later to go to the Iowa Book Bash. So there's like a huge book conference up there in Iowa, like north Iowa. And then I come back for a week, and then I leave again for Chicago. So that's Wild and Windy, Chicago, and that's in May. And then I get a couple weeks break, and then Book Bonanza. So, and I also have to write in between all of this.
You have a book to write in between. Yes. So, anything upcoming that's on the West Coast?
No. The next time I'll be on the West Coast for book stuff is Vancouver in 2025. Are you guys going to be at that one?
Well,
Do you know
tickets
what
go
I'm
on
talking about?
sale this coming week.
Hey,
So it'll be
yeah.
I mean it's
So
a half an hour from my house. So
oh
fingers
wow,
crossed.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll get to see you there at that one.
Okay.
I'm also going to be in Kentucky. If anyone lives in Kentucky, I'll be in Kentucky like in October, I think. So.
Yeah, we had a minute about that, especially when I found out you were going to be there, because we're doing Wild and Windy. We're doing Love in Vegas at the end of October. And the one in Kentucky is 2 weekends. 2 weeks before. And so we're sitting there going, can we swing it? Can we swing it?
Yeah.
We can't swing it.
No.
It's the airfare is killing us from Seattle to Lexington. Yeah. It's so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
I mean,
yeah, that's why I don't go to the West Coast very often, because for me to fly from Missouri to the West Coast, it's outrageous. It's so much cheaper. I can fly to the East Coast all day long, like $200, but it's like $500 to $600 for me to fly to the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm going to the West Coast, I'm going to Oregon to see my boy.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's why I don't get out there very often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's like, we were looking at tickets to go to Alberta, because we're doing the Rockies in July. And
yeah.
It's 10 hours from my house. And it was like $600 in airfare. And I looked at Mandy, or called Mandy, and I'm like, we're driving.
Yeah.
We're driving. I have a Prius. We're driving. So.
Yeah, about 12 hours is my limit on driving. But since I'm in Missouri, I can pretty much get anywhere for 10 hours except for like the West Coast. So yeah, I drive to most places. I'll drive to Chicago. I'll drive to the Iowa one. I'll drive to Dallas. So I can drive to all of those.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see if we still love each other after this 10-hour drive. I think that's the longest road trip.
Oh, road trips are the best. You guys could totally do it. I made it. I drove all the way to Oregon with my bestie, and that was a 10-day drive. So 5 days there, 5 days back.
Yeah. We were never allowed to drive that far when we were younger. I think we would go to Seaside, Oregon, or Cannon Beach was our longest. We drive down there, turn around, and drive home in one day. And it cost us $20 in gas. Do you remember that, Mandy?
Yeah.
The Ford Fiesta.
Life used to be so cheap.
It was. We packed sack lunches and looked at all the construction workers as we were going down. We were also like 18, but yeah. So
good memories.
Yeah, this will be fun doing this road trip. I think we're gonna stop in Banff and stuff. So I think we'll do good. We'll have fun.
Yeah, it will be fun.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Okay, so what do you have so book 2 comes out it'll already be out.
Yeah.
Yes, it'll already be out by the time this video comes out. So what is in store for book 3, and do you have audio news as well?
Yes, so the audio, can I announce the narrators? I don't think I was told I couldn't. So I have a audio publisher. That's actually who I write for, is the publisher. So when I have these deadlines, it's not me, it's my publisher. It's actually the narrator's schedule. I'm on their schedule. So I got one of the narrators that narrates for Jennifer Armentrout and Sarah J. Maas's. Do you guys read fantasy? Are you familiar with those?
Yes.
He narrates a lot of their dramatizations. So like their graphic audiobooks. I don't know if you guys have ever listened to graphic audiobooks. So he
That's
does a
how
lot of
she
those.
listened to. I listened to Akatar with the original audio, but she listened to that whole series with the dramatization.
Yes.
Okay. So I was waiting on his schedule. And hang on, I was looking up the dates while I've got you. I don't know if I just cut myself off or if you can still see me.
I'll see you.
You can still see me? Okay. Yeah. So the narrator is Danny Gavigan. He's doing all of the male voices. It's a duet style. And then Stella Hunter's doing the female. She was actually the one that I originally requested and got her. So I was super excited that I got her, my first pick. I actually went through a lot of male narrators before I ended up with Danny, and he was not on my radar at all. So the fact that they recommended him and my publisher, and they were like, they're like, you want this guy, he's awesome. And then I found out, I listened to him narrating for, Jennifer Matrot and Sarah J. Maas and a bunch of others. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sold. So now I'm on his schedule. The first audiobook releases August 27th. So my third ebook, so the ebook for Heart of Scars, Frost and Scars,
yes,
that actual ebook releases on August 26th.
Oh my
The
goodness.
very next day, the audiobook for book 1 releases. So, I mean, if you're wanting to wait, you're waiting till August for the audiobook. So August 27th is the book 1, book 2 is October 15th, and book 3 is December 10th. So you're waiting through to the end of the year to get the whole series. But they're going to be so good on audio. They're going to be so good. The duet style, Stella Hunter does such an awesome job duet. Anyway, I don't know if you've listened to her duet.
Oh yes,
So good. So those two together, you have.
Yeah, well, I don't know if Mandy remembers her. It was our very first book signing event, and is she Meg Ann or is she the other one? What does she write under? Because she's an author.
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you and I had this conversation though, and I couldn't remember.
She writes duet with, is it Lorraine? No, it's Meg Ann and somebody she has a series. She's got a pen.
Oh, it is. I think you're right. It is Lorraine. So I think because she does all of her audiobooks.
Yes.
Lorraine, there's all those vampire audiobooks. I know what you're talking about.
There's some that they're fantasy. And
so
she does.
Oh, okay. I thought they were vampire, paranormal. No.
So she has. I guess maybe they could be called paranormal too. Yeah, because they're vampire and werewolf and yeah. So you're right.
That's paranormal.
Paranormal, yeah. So she has that. I was thinking fantasy because one of them is like a god, like a Greek, like a Hercules kind of thing. That's why I was thinking that. But she
maybe it's a mix.
Yes, both of those girls that write those books were in Seattle, and I bought some from them, and they were like, "Oh, do you want her to sign it as Stella Hunter, who does the audio?" And I'm like, "You're the same person?" And she's yeah. So she signed it, so I have her signature and their names.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I don't remember who was who, but they were the sweetest girls. So I mean, this was several years ago, but
awesome.
She does do great audio. Yes, yeah. So that'll be cool. So end of August will be a very busy week for you. Very busy month. Yeah. What else?
I'll be dead by then. I don't think I'm going to be able to survive this. I'll be okay. It'll be fine.
The other night you were like, I'm going to bed. I haven't slept all week. Here's the final book. And so then I send you an email and you're messaging me just a couple hours later.
I was still awake. I know. So here's the problem with me though. I have insomnia, but also even when I finish, if I've gone I think the max I've gone is 4 days without sleep. That's not even a nap. That's 4 days. My brain starts doing really weird things. I cannot go to sleep at that point because I'm so well, first of all, I'm so jacked up on energy drinks. I drink a lot of pressed juice energy drinks and just caffeine galore. So my brain is still in this full speed ahead movement. I'm sure you guys experience this. When you get so worked up for so long, I cannot shut it down. So it took me 12 hours, I think, after I finished the book to fall asleep. Even though I tried multiple times to lay down, I'm like, nope, it's not working yet. Can't go to sleep yet. So that's just the way it is.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I was the whole week. She hasn't slept the whole week.
Yeah. But I get really clumsy. I start running. I'm covered in bruises because I don't know. Have you tried that? Going for 3 or 4 days without sleep?
When we travel, because we're traveling typically from the West Coast, and say when we went to the Dominican Republic or when we went to Aruba and stuff, we left out of Alaska to go to Aruba, and so that took us almost.
So you have the long.
That was insane. And then you're awake when you get down there because you can't go to sleep until a certain time. So
I
know,
right.
Yeah, and at that point you can't nap and you have to stay awake.
You lose motor function. I feel for me that's the first thing that goes is my motor function. So after 3 days of not sleeping, I run into things I catch myself. It's weird. I don't. Yeah. Anyway,
I'll get a migraine if I don't get enough sleep. I get migraines.
I have Nurtec, so I pop Nurtec like crazy. That's my goal. It's a pure gold.
Yeah, I don't like that. Does it make your sinuses feel weird? I mean, I'll take it if I have to, but I cannot stand that feeling.
Oh yeah, it jacks me up. But my migraines are so bad, and I go to my doctor, and I'm like, make the migraine stop, and she's like, sleep, woman,
just go
sleep.
to bed.
If you just sleep, you will not have migraines.
Yeah. Yeah, I always know it's like time to go to sleep if the migraine's hitting and I've been awake for too long. So,
yep.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions, Mandy?
I just have our wrap-up question. Did you get all yours, Jessica?
No. Okay. Who's your favorite character in the Frozen Fate trilogy right now? I mean, does it change? Is it always the same one? Is it one that you can say?
It's Wolf. I mean, Wolf is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
If you know anything about me, I'm not good to my favorite characters. So if you ever know like what my favorite characters are in any of my books, you'll know that I do horrible, awful things to them. That was a little bit spoilery, but also it's true. If you've read any of my books and you know who my favorite characters are,
you're not nice. Yeah.
I'm not nice to them at all. Yeah, it's Wolf.
Yeah. Mine's Kodiak. I'll take him in a heartbeat. I love Wolf. Wolf has this special place in my heart. Like, just, I love Wolf.
He's so broken.
He is. And I like broken. Leo a lot. I need Kodiak. If I had to choose, I'm choosing Kodiak. Mandy's not far enough in yet to understand all of this.
No.
So they're still a little mean right now. So
yes.
Yeah, we are at in the book. But yeah.
Go Monty.
I mean,
that's the first thing she was asking me too. She's like, does Monty get better?
I love Monty. I love him, but also I really like bad people. So like in stories, fictional bad people, I really like. I'm not giving anything away because he's not great in book 1.
No. And you asked, I mean, this obviously we don't want to go too far, but you asked how we felt about him. So yeah.
I actually was texting Jessica. Like I said, I'm only 28% in, but this is a big book. So that, like, I've read a significant number of pages to be 28% in. But I've texted Jessica several times asking her, I'm like, don't answer this, but does this happen?
Like, what do you want me to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also,
I have
like,
a lot of questions.
Monty doesn't get a whole lot of play in book 1, though. I mean, like, he's a lot in book 2, so just know that going in. Like, he doesn't disappear. And if you're pro-life, you're really not gonna like Monty. Because you're just not. So
Yep.
Actually, if you're pro-life, you probably won't like most of the characters in the book, now that I think about it. Anyway.
Yeah. So, okay.
But I also write priest books, so I write, like, if you're Catholic, you probably don't want to read any of my priest books.
Yeah, I mean, Mandy and I are both Christians, but we're not Catholic, so it doesn't bother me. I'm like,
I was raised Catholic.
Yeah, but you're not.
Me too.
So
I was raised Roman Catholic. I went to Catholic school and I was taught by priests and nuns, and yeah, my dad is Orthodox Catholic, which is like the most Catholic you can be. He's like the most Catholic person you could ever be. Anyway.
Yeah. I know this because when I first started reading, like really getting into reading, everybody was talking about Priest by Sierra Simone, and I remember picking that book up and going, I don't get it. Why is this so taboo? My dad is a pastor, so I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah. No, like, it's because the Catholic, the Catholic priests, they can't enjoy any of that.
No.
None of that.
No, but we did this morning in our 1-minute book recs that we recorded that'll be out on Monday. Mandy talked about Lessons in Sin, because was it Lessons in Sin? Yeah, that's the priest. Yeah,
I just read that.
She just read it, so she was talking about it, and I read it a while ago and was telling her about it. But we talked about morning worship quite a bit this morning.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's like one of the best parts. I love that part. So I remember calling her and telling her about it when I first read the book. Like, oh my gosh, there's this scene in the beginning of the book, and she calls it morning worship. And yeah, I love that.
It is this morning worship.
Yes, yeah, it's perfect. So, all right.
Okay, so what is like the best way for readers to connect with you?
Instagram is my go-to for everything. I'm not really on Facebook. So if you message me on Facebook, I'm probably, unless you're Jessica, I'm probably going to take like several weeks to get back to you. Like I'll be like, "Oh, I haven't checked my Facebook account in like 2 weeks." So then I'll go and look. So that's where I am on Facebook. I my Instagram account feeds out to Facebook, so I don't even have to open Facebook. Like everything you see on Facebook posted by me is coming from my Instagram account.
Wow.
TikTok, I don't know what to do with that. Like I try and I'm old and it doesn't like translate. I can't dance. I can't sing.
No,
So
I know.
it's
When
just,
Mandy was like,
it's,
there was one time when we started this, she's like, we really probably should have a TikTok. I was like, no, our TikTok is our biggest platform now. And I'm just like, how did
is
that
it?
happen? Yeah, we have
That's awesome.
like what, close to 3,500 followers on TikTok. I mean, it's not huge, but for us, that's
That's
huge.
great.
And it
Yeah,
was just
no,
because of one video, one dark romance video that just took off. But I'm like, oh, I guess we
that's
have
all
to
it
do
takes.
this. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah, I mean, I love TikTok. TikTok,
yeah.
I think is great, and I don't want it to go away, though I heard that it's just got another push towards getting banned, I think today. Anyway, I don't want to go, I don't want it to go away. I feel horrible for all the people who, survive on
Mhm.
TikTok, but it might go away, and I'm hoping that all those people fall back to Instagram because I just really love Instagram.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's for you. That's the best place to connect with me. That's where I'm always at. Also, I'm old school. I love email. Email
Mhm.
is really, if you want to do any business transactions with me, you got to send it to my email because it'll get lost any other way.
Mhm.
So
Okay. All right. Is there
Okay.
anything else?
That was my list.
All right.
Well,
Well,
thank you so much for joining us. It's
thanks
like
for having me.
I'm fangirling like quite a bit over here that you're with us
Well,
right now.
I hope you're not too traumatized by the time you're done reading Hills of Shivers and Shadows. I hope that we're still friends at the end.
yeah. Yeah, I hope we're still friends in the end because she's like, I'm not very far into it and I'm already getting calls and texts at this point. So
I need some answers. That's
you
all.
get
Well,
them
that's you have
eventually.
to wait for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
what she told me.
Yeah. We had this discussion already.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. So that's it for this episode. So, do you want to tell them anything, Mandy? Am I forgetting something? How did we end this last time?
I don't remember if we did like a formal
Okay.
I think you
ending.
should sing. You guys should sing something.
We don't want to lose followers at this point.
Yeah. Suddenly we have 0 subscribers.
Yeah, exactly.
Things
So,
went awry.
yeah, exactly. All right.
Okay, well, make sure to check back for new videos from us on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.